nothing more absurd, as I view it, than that conventional association of the homely and the wholesome, which seems to pervade the psychology of the multitude. Mention a bucolic Yankee setting. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce the bucolic word. A bungling and thick-fibered village undertaker, and a careless mishap in a tomb, and no average reader can be brought to expect more than a hearty, albeit grotesque, phase of comedy. God knows, though, that the prosy tale which George Birch's death permits me to tell has in it aspects beside which some of our darkest tragedies are light. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next episode of the Carr-Quest of H.P. Lovecraft. Today we will be covering In the Vault by H.P. Lovecraft. So, In the Vault is basically about, as you heard, an undertaker named George Birch who gets trapped in a vault. He gets trapped in a vault. And the vault is where they keep coffins for the winter, because in the winter you can't really dig graves. So when spring comes, then they can do it. He's doing something with a body, but he ends up getting trapped in there, and so he has to try and find a way out. And he finds that there's a transom, which I think is kind of like this beam that's like the window. So it's kind of like this it's the window above the beam above the door. So he's trying to find a way to get out of that, and things don't go quite too well for him as he tries to escape. It's a good story. It's okay, I think. This is definitely one of the ones that's just kind of like, okay. If I seem a little kind of, sort of off energy, it's not because I'm like, well, partially is because I'm tired, but it's because I've kind of had a long day today. But, I just thought that I'd, get this out to y'all. But, yeah. So this story is, I think it's very good. I think it's okay. Because I like the idea of it, though. I think it does give a good sense of claustrophobia, being stuck in a place, not just stuck in a pretty not so big space, but surrounded by coffins. And coffins that not all of them are like shaped right, and you're surrounded by like corpses, and that's just a creepy situation. Being in a small kind of compact area, you're surrounded by wooden caskets with bodies in, and you have to find a way out. And it is creepy. It is a really creepy visual. But I feel like In the Vault is more kind of it's kind of feels more like an experience, like a short story trying to document an experience. I read actually that Lovecraft was like inspired by an editor who sort of came up with this idea of a story about an undertaker who gets trapped in a vault and has to find a way out through the transom window. And Lovecraft liked that idea, so then he wrote this story. There's not really much I can really say on this story. There were some really creepy parts, like the way like Lovecraft describes the process of how he gets out and how he actually does get out. Kind of. Again, as I mentioned earlier, he has a little bit of trouble getting out. But I don't know. It's just, again, it's kind of like, how do I put it? Lovecraft can sometimes be pretty gruesome in his tales. We've discussed this. Pickman's Model with the ghouls. Picture in the House with the cannibalism. Rats in the Walls with the underground city and the like people being treated like cattle and just all like body horror, gruesome kind of stuff. And I think Lovecraft Lovecraft is very good at atmosphere, and I don't know, it feels kind of weird. Well, not too weird. You know what I'm trying to say. It's like very atmospheric, but there's also a lot of grotesqueness in it. It's very gruesome, especially this one when he's actually kind of describing what happens as he tries to make his way out. The sudden thing that happens. But yeah, like it's just kind of okay. It is a creepy story. It's a creepy idea, but it's not like, The Outsider, where it's kind of like dreamlike and like, whoa, what the hell? Or like Pickman's Model, where it's just kind of, or Picture in the House, where just the mystery just kind of keeps building and building and building. And here the mystery kind of builds too, because it sort of introduces Birch and everything. But Birch is also, I don't, it feels kind of like a short story that was just kind of a sketch. It doesn't really, sort of like with Picture in the House. I still like Picture in the House, but I feel like with this, it feels a bit, it doesn't feel as like fleshed out as maybe it could be. Of course, this story is probably, from the 20s, 30s, whenever it was published, so, I can't really ask that it be, like, revised or something. But, it's just, I guess just, I don't know, because, again, it's kind of more of a story about an experience. You sort of experience the horror of what Birch is going through. You kind of experience it through how Lovecraft writes it. And Lovecraft does write it well. It's just, I feel like the story is very kind of, compared to the other ones we've reviewed, this one's kind of, not like shallow, but it does kind of feel, I think also part of it is, again, that I did have a long day today, so I'm just kind of maybe not in the right, like, zone for it, But yeah, like, again, it's an okay story. I think that is a creepy idea. It's just, I don't feel like it's as fleshed out as, again, Rats in the Walls, Picture in the House, Pickman's Model, The Outsider. I don't think it's as fleshed out as, it's not quite as fleshed out as those. But I still think it is worth a read. I think it is very much, worth a read. Oh, this story is just kinda to me. This is the first kind of Lovecraft story I'm just kinda like, like, again, it's a decent idea, but I feel like it both could have been fleshed out, and it also feels like it was just the right length for an idea, for an idea like this, and an idea as the editor first pitched it. Although I do feel like Lovecraft could have maybe fleshed it out just a little bit more. So, if I were ranking this story on a tier list, I would say this is probably B tier. This is probably a B tier story. There's no Lovecraft connections that I really caught in here. There's no, I honestly thought that they, like, come alive and, like, start to attack him. Like, the bodies in the coffins. I thought the bodies were gonna come alive and, like, attack Birch as he's, like, trying to escape. Especially given the details of one of the specific people whose body is in one of the coffins. But yeah, so again, this one's just kind of okay. It's not the best story of Lovecraft. It's not the best Lovecraft story that Lovecraft ever wrote. But I can see, but because of the atmosphere and because of everything else, I do think it is still worth a read, because it's still Lovecraft, So yeah, again, sorry if this kind of comes off as a little, well, not scatterbrained, but just kind of, like, rushed and weird. But, next time, it is gonna be interesting, because the next story is The Silver Key. And we are going to be and through this story, for the first time in this series anyway, I believe, we are going to be introduced to one of Lovecraft's longest running characters. This is the next story, The Silver Key. This is the first time we're really going to meet one of Lovecraft's longest running characters. And that character will be revealed next time. I was so tempted to say his name. But next Saturday, folks, the Silver Key. And we're gonna meet this character, and it'll be great. So guys, this has been the Carr-Quest of H.P. Lovecraft. I have been your host, Andrew Carr, and I will see you all next Saturday. See ya.